Greetings and welcome to CWT Fire Warden Training. The initial segment will consist of a narrated presentation with an approximate runtime of 10 minutes. We kindly request you to take a moment to relax, sit back, and pay attention in the training. Let's look at what you will be learning today, and for those who already trained before, let's make this a refresher as I forget when the last I went to the toilet. Today you will learn on your roles and responsibility as a fire warden. Types of fire alarm systems. The fire triangle. Firefighting equipment and how to use them. Some common hazards. Assemble area or point for the building. Fire exit staircase. And roll call duties. The objectives. This fire warden training is intended to assist the appointed fire warden in addressing the needs of coping with an emergency such as those that may arise from a fire outbreak, security, or terrorist threat. The main objectives is to ensure the safety of human lives in the event of fire, to establish responsibilities of individuals involved in handling emergencies, to know what to do during the first fire alarm, to ensure prompt raising of the fire alarm, to establish a systematic and orderly evacuation. Types of fire alarm systems. Let's learn some quick fire alarm systems that often trigger the alarm. First, we have the manual call point. A fire alarm call point, also referred to as a red manual call point or a break glass call point, is essentially a small box, mounted on a wall, that contains a button or a lever that allows you to trigger the fire alarm in a building manually. Next, we have the smoke detectors. Smoke alarms detect fires by sensing small particles in the air. Once those particles above a certain threshold, they signal the alarm to sound off. Beam detectors. Optical beam smoke detectors work on the principle of light obscuration, where the presence of smoke blocks some of the light from the beam. A certain percentage of the transmitted light has been blocked by the smoke. A fire is signaled. Lastly, the sprinkler flow switch. A flow switch is typically mounted on the side of a pipe where water flow is expected to be detected in the event of a sprinkler. Do you recall the fire triangle? I'm certain you do, however, if not, please pay close attention. Heat. For ignition to occur, a source of heat is essential. Different materials possess varying flash points, which represent the lowest temperature at which they ignite. Fuel. Without a material to burn, a fire cannot start. Homes and businesses are filled with flammable materials like paper, oil, wood, and fabrics, any of which can serve as fuel for a fire. Oxygen. Sustaining the combustion reaction requires oxygen, or an oxidizing agent, as it reacts with the burning fuel to release heat and CO2. Earth's atmosphere contains 21% oxygen, providing ample supply to trigger a fire if the other two components.
There's a fire in your office, what should you do? There are firefighting equipment around you such as fire extinguisher and fire hose reel. Come, let me teach you how to use a fire extinguisher. Just remember the word pass. P is for pull the pin, A is to aim the nozzle to the base of the fire, S for squeezy, and another S is to sweep the nozzle side to side. Oh no, the fire extinguisher is empty. No worries, you can still use the fire hose reel provided every 45 meters around you. Find the nearest hose reel and pull out the hose reel. Open the control valve, roll out the hose. Turn on the nozzle valve. Spray, spray, spray.
Here we like to share some of the common hazards found in a warehouse building. Obstruction to fire safety measures. Obstruction to means of escape. Obstruction to fire safety measures. Storage or placement of combustible material at the common area. Fire wardens are to report to its respective in-charge, CWT facilities management or fire safety manager if you spotted any of those. Another common fire safety offense frequently occurring in warehouses is the unauthorized change of use. Under the new SCDF enforcement framework, such unauthorized changes will now be classified as a direct fire safety offense and will result in the issuance of a notice of offense. Rectification will lead to the issuance of a NOC. However, failure to address the issue may result in legal proceedings.
Fire wardens. Yes, that is you. A fire warden has two main roles, a day-to-day role and a role they play when that fire alarm sounds. Day-to-day, we will require your assistance to the followings. Check the general fire safety of the area, building or floor that you have been allocated. Monitor escape routes to ensure they are kept free of obstructions. Check corridors and stairwells to ensure that combustible materials are not stored there. Check that fire doors are not tied, propped or wedged open when they shouldn't be. Check that main and final exit doors can be opened easily and are not obstructed, inside or outside. Inspect smoke detectors to ensure they aren't covered. Check that extinguishers are where they should be and that there has been no obvious misuse or if any defect has occurred. Liaise with other fire wardens in your building, if applicable, to ensure all areas are fully covered in case of sickness or holiday leave. Show other employees and new starters the correct fire escape route and the location of their evacuation. Building fire exit staircase. Building occupants are to use the fire exit staircase in the event of fire. Look out for exit signage when exiting the building if you're not sure. Lifts will not be available during the fire alarm. Directly make your way to the assembly area for head count.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. The fire alarm has been activated in the building. We are investigating the situation. Please remain calm and stand by your speakers for further instruction. So, you are the fire warden. Upon the first fire alarm, we will require your assistance for the following. This is very important. Check your appointed area if there's any sign of fire. Stand by for a call or WhatsApp from the FCC. If there's no update, do stand by for the next instruction. Form the PA system and do not keep calling us what's happening as we are investigating. If there's a fire, report by calling the FCC or notify us in the WhatsApp group. Break the next nearest call point to trigger the second alarm. Start the evacuation process. Remember, this is the first alarm. Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. There exists an emergency situation in the building. Please evacuate by the nearest exit staircase and obey all instructions given by the fire wardens. Remember to avoid the use of lifts. A real fire in the building. Hear what you the fire warden need to do on hearing of the continuous evacuation fire alarm. Check all offices, stored, toilets, warehouse and alert everyone on the level or area to evacuate in an orderly manner, using the nearest fire exits. Ensure that the disabled, children, pregnant women if any are given particular attention during evacuation. Leave the building after ascertaining that all occupants of the story/area have complied with the order. On reaching the assembly area, conduct an roll call of the staff present or with the assistance of nominated assembly area coordinator and report the evacuation status, in person, to its superior and fire coordinator.
Know where is the assembly area. It's very simple to remember where as it is at the main entrance which can easily leave when the fire is super at large. You will see your company signboards, so do assemble in line with them. As a fire warden, do note that you will need to take attendance and make sure all are accountable for. We will share more in later slide. To the fire wardens, this is an important message. If the fire and smoke is at large, do evacuate yourself. Do take note of the areas that you did not manage to check before leaving. Remember to close all fire doors when leaving. Exit doors are specially designed to prevent the spread of fire and smoke through a building so people can evacuate safely and the building is protected from damage. Then proceed directly to the assembly point.
Upon reaching to the assembly point, the fire warden or if the company has its appointed roll call taker, to check all the head counts if all are accountable for. Do remind your HR to keep the floor register up to date so that during an emergency, you are able to retrieve it easily. It's very important to notify if there's anyone missing and to report it to the fire safety manager, as the first priority for the SCDF is to rescue the human lives. At this point your job is done. Do take a rest and drink up if needed. Building occupants. In the event of an evacuation is necessary and is instructed through the PA system. Evacuate immediately, as per fire evacuation procedures. Follow directions of respective fire warden/assistant fire wardens during evacuation. When evacuating, do not panic but walk quickly down the staircase by the nearest exit and proceed to the assembly area. Do not use lifts when evacuating. Help the disabled, children, pregnant women, etc. when evacuating. The assembly point is located at near the main entrance of the building. All staff/visitors shall not re-enter the building once at the assembly area unless instructed otherwise by the police, SCDF, or the security officer.
We have come to the end of the slides. Below are the contacts to the building OIC in charge and FSM. Should you have any inquiry, please do feel free to drop us an email. Thank you and stay safe always.